What can I say about this hard day? The hardest since Mount Katahdin. I knew I'd see nothing for my hard work, hiking up to a view, then down again and up again to another view that was completely fogged in. The most important thing I needed to do, though, was not look for views, but to keep moving to stay safe. But it's little consolation when the notes describe this section of Maine as the best views in the state. Well, I get up early from Logan Brook, everybody else still cuddled into the shelter as the waterfall falls, and I think I could just spend the whole day here. But I gotta keep moving. It's gonna be raining for days, and it's a big pull up and up and up to the summit of the Whitecap. But the Maine Appalachian Trail Coalition has built this glorious set of stairs, and it's pretty straightforward. Only a few wet and windy miles to where the trees become stunted krumholz, and everything begins to open up. Only on Whitecap is the view open of the 4 peaks that I'll cross today. The others are wooded and without views. But in this case, that's a good thing, since it leaves me less exposed to the elements. I thank whomever's in charge in heaven for small mercies. It's not pouring rain, there's no snow, and the wind is relatively light, although the fog swirls around me. I pass over this very spooky and lonely, rocky, open area and ask myself over and over, "Are you okay?" And then I answer it with, "Yes, you're okay." I wonder if this is the lesson that I'll take from this hike. Just to try to keep myself okay, and to learn to be that person who comforts myself and tells me I'm okay. On a day like this, I can't think about anything else but just surviving it. Though I do smile at the small beauty, like the shape of the weather-stunted trees, all the wildflowers heavy with moisture lining the trail, and the wildly colorful fluorescent fungus eye-catching in the gloom. And of course the sound of my own breathing, rhythmic and strong. I stop for just a moment to think about where I am, and that I likely have cancer. I'm going to have to go home soon and tend to it. And that thought terrifies me. It also angers me. I'm healthy, and I have so much I want to do. Why one more damn thing I have to manage? But up here, I just can't feel sorry for myself, because that would take away the energy that I need to keep moving forward, which I've got to do. It's not a matter of want to do or would like to do. To stop and not move forward would be dangerous in the damp and cold. I can only rely on myself right now. And I guess that's why my cancer doctor sent me out here right now. She said, "Go. We don't know anything yet about the pathology, and we can't do anything yet without knowing. So get on trail. Get yourself in shape for whatever you're going to have to face." And I know that's not just getting in shape physically. She's talking about mentally and also spiritually. You're listening to Blissful Hiker Podcast. I'm Allison Young, the solo, female, middle-aged, titanium-reinforced, long-distance backpacker Blissful Hiker. This podcast is a series of personal essays that I call audio narratives. They couple storytelling, found sound, and my own flute playing, and I explore a journey of self-discovery where I share the sometimes unglamorous but vital truth about empowerment. Empowerment as badass people who really don't need permission to blaze our own trails in this journey we call life. If you enjoy these podcasts, you can support them through Patreon. There's a link in the show notes or at blissfulhikerpodcast.com. We're in Season 5, and I've been taking you on a southbound hike of the Appalachian Trail. It has been one of the hardest seasons in memory, with drenching rain. And the steepness of the trail is unbelievable to me. I mean, it really is putting away your hiking sticks and using your hands kind of steepness. And the worst, of course, is going down. After so many days, I feel it in my knees. Nothing is buckling. I'm not going to fall. I'm moving smoothly. But I am stiff, and it hurts. It's funny up here on Whitecap Mountain. I'm going to cross 4 separate summits today, but these mountains don't appear to have a full 500 feet descent and ascent between each one, which is really what defines separate mountains. Or maybe I'm just going really well. As I come down from Whitecap and re-enter the forest, the warblers are abuzz, and it's wonderful, even up here in this crazy kind of gloomy, scary weather. And then I step right into a pile of moose droppings. Moose? All the way up here? Why? And maybe more importantly, how? I did read somewhere that when they built this trail, they actually used moose trails. Well, that would make sense. As I continue on and touch each peak, a lovely glade opens up below Gulf Haggis. It's filled with birdsong and so welcoming, although no views at all. I cross this gorgeous ridge and then race down steeply on rock to another lean-to for lunch. I'm exhausted, I'm cold, but so proud to have crested all of that alone and safely. The itinerary for today has me stopping in another 7 miles at East Chairback Pond, and yet something looks really wrong. I see a sign and it doesn't even mention the place. I make some food for lunch, and then the Sibs catch up. We're all smiles and excitement, and they underscore the fact that I, a middle-aged hiker, made it all the way without them passing me. But then they break the bad news. They explain to me that not only is there no shelter in 7 miles, but camping is prohibited. The next shelter is a giant climb, and it's another 10 miles away. And then I start to cry. All the pent-up energy, all that crossing with a plan to finally be safe and dry soon enough, I just don't think I can do it. My tent is soaking, and camping would probably be dangerous anyway in this weather. It's way too early to stay here for tonight. It's only about 10:30. I really need to keep going. But where am I going to stay? And then there's that giant climb. The Sibs tell me I should just go for it. It's not that bad, they say. You can do it. Stay or go? Can I do it? There's also a boulder climb to come up and over a peak. It's a pretty short one, but still. I guess in an emergency, I will be coming to a flat area by a stream, and I could camp there if I had to. So while they're still eating, I pack up and I go. The start, anyway, is not that bad, even on tired legs. I'm grateful to follow the Gulf Haggis Creek tumbling down next to me on easy trail. The birds are loud, and I hear a Magnolia Warbler, new to me. The Sibs do pass me this time within minutes, and they tell me, "Come on, trust yourself, you've got it." I watch them go and realize I'll never walk like them again. Slightly dejected in my slowpoke pace, I'm looking down at my feet, and my eyes go to a log on trail. And that's when I see my first Red Spotted Newt. He seems to be waiting for me. He poses as if to say, "Come on, take my picture." Gummy orange like candy, he walks towards me, his tiny webbed feet checking me out without fear. Yeah, newts are adorable, like a cartoon character, and so important to the ecosystem, telling us that all is healthy. I watch him for a while and thank this little guy for appearing and making me brave. He lets me take his picture several times, then finds a fissure in the log and eases his tiny body inside. With a smile and confidence, I continue down, meeting more hikers, mostly section hiking, and warning me of dangerous river crossings to come. Not the next, though. It's again a branch of the Pleasant River that's very wide and only rises to just below my knees. The rocks are slippery, though. I could fall in, so I take good care. And beyond here is a steep uphill to a plateau where views begin to open, brooding and gray, so many lakes below in the boreal forest. I meander on sharp rocks, looking back to the mountains I just crossed. And ahead, I think I see this might be my next summit, Chairback Mountain. But nothing is that simple. I mean, if I could fly, I could reach it. But I have to go down again, steeply down, and then up and down, and finally up to another ridge that looks straight at it. Chairback Mountain. I might call it more a recliner, but now I'm headed up to it. First, there's a tiny bit of down, naturally, and my knees are on fire. The guidebook describes a rockfall, and that's exactly what I reach, a talus slope, kind of like Katahdin in miniature, with white blazes suggesting the best route. I'm on the very last hard part now, and I know I'm going to make it to the shelter. I put away my sticks to use my hands and just launch myself to the top, where views await. Sorta. Now it's less than a mile to the lean-to. It's high up on a bluff called Chairback Gap, and it's above the water. Shoes is here, the first time I've seen him since after Katahdin, and the Sibs, who acted as trail angels getting me here, and then trail angeling me again, running down to the creek to get me water. They decide to camp in a tent, and Shoes and I take over the entire shelter to ourselves. He's on one side and me on the other. It's late, it isn't even dark, and we're both already cuddled in fast. I got help from friends today, but I also did it myself. Kept telling myself I'm okay and moving one step in front of the other to get here. What luck I had meeting these people, and what luck that the weather wasn't too bad, even though it was a challenge. Hiking the Appalachian Trail has been a humbling experience. Am I building up my mental strength? For sure. Physical? Oh, absolutely. And spiritual? Yeah. Because there was the Newt when I needed him, and there were the Sibs. And even here in the shelter is a friend keeping me company with stories before my exhausted body knocks out. You can see pictures from my southbound hike of the Appalachian Trail. Just go to blissfulhikerpodcast.com. Blissful Hiker Podcast is on all the podcast platforms and also on Patreon. You can support the show financially as a patron. Find a link to Patreon in the show notes or at blissfulhikerpodcast.com. Next week, it's still on the Appalachian Trail, and the rain never lets up, and the creeks are impassable. But I reach a magical mountain bog, and it lifts my spirits. Until then, my friends, kia kaha and happy trails.